thank you for coming. Sorry that we're a little bit late today, guys, but we are ready to get into it. We have all of our terrain here ready to paint. I'd like to start by saying thank you so much to Archon Studio and Dungeons and Lasers for sending us this terrain that we get to play with and paint, and also sending us a bunch of boxes that we get to give away to our lovely viewers.
Yay!
Yay! If you would like to go in the draw to win a set, we've got 3 to give away. All you gotta do is ask a question in the chat. We're just gonna be running a little Q&A today, a little hangout while we paint this beautiful terrain. It really is gorgeous. So we've actually got 2 sets here that we're painting. We have the Abomination Vaults set, which is what we will be giving away, and we also have their Dwarven Mine set here at the moment as well. Super excited to get into it. Why don't we start? I've already pre-primed all of these, so these have been primed, and we're just cutting them out of their sprue.
Very furiously cutting them out.
Yeah, they're gorgeous. They come, obviously, all sprued up like so, and they're gorgeous. The detail is awesome, so I'm very excited to get into it. We'll do some little glamour shots as we go, but why don't we start it off with a question? Let's get straight into it.
Already?
Yes. The first question, of course, is would you prefer to be absolutely massive or minuscule? So
the important questions to kick us off.
Morgan.
Well, I already fit into one of those categories, so I already know the answer to that.
Gianni is already massive.
I would love to be tiny, just to see what it's like for everyone else.
I just want to clarify. Are we talking like elephant or skyscraper or mountain massive?
I mean, it says massive or minuscule, and I take minuscule as quite tiny. I'm like Ant-Man, I would imagine, which would be fairly good.
Okay, we got to weigh pros and cons. What are the pros of being massive?
And what are the pros of being? I mean, massive, strong,
It's very strong.
heft. Minuscule. I mean, but cons of massive: break everything, fit nowhere.
See, my downside for being massive would be, instead of worrying about like tiny bugs flying in your ear, you have to worry about birds flying in your ear.
I mean,
well, like just
a plane. I mean, how big are we talking? A plane? That
Right?
could be quite annoying.
Plane in your ear, not a good time.
Cannot recommend.
From first-hand experience, I do not recommend having a plane in your ear.
Yes, Jules, we see that you will not be using terrain, but thank you for your questions anyways.
Tiny is my answer.
Tiny is your answer. I think tiny would be my answer as well. I feel like it could be a little sneak thief. Yeah. Not that
It'd be very hard to make friends if you were enormous.
Yeah, I think people would be scared of you, where you're more endearing if you're small, which is, I mean...
At least you can still be in the room with everyone.
Yeah.
Even if you're just like...
And I mean, as far as Pathfinder goes, there's a larger percentage of small and tiny creatures.
Be your own mini.
Be your own mini.
Yes.
Oh my God, imagine playing a game of Pathfinder and you get to just be on the hex grid.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of hex grids, these do come gridded. They are already laid out with your 5-foot squares, and they're totally modular as well, which I'm super excited for.
So we were joking earlier that we are like possibly the worst use case to receive Pathfinder terrain, because we don't actually use hex maps. However, we have done stuff with terrain and minis before. Like obviously our Ultimate Mage Arena stream, which we did last year, was a huge production with minis, which was fun. And like we'd love to do some more stuff. So this is probably the good kick up the bum to actually start producing some stuff.
It's our gateway drug into terrain. I mean, we were sent some really gorgeous... Are they here? Some really gorgeous minis of our realignment characters by one of our viewers. They made them by hand. They're really awesome.
We should zoom in.
Yeah. Have you got a little zoom?
We show them off in an upcoming episode of Realignment. But
they are gorgeous.
Is this spoilers then?
No.
I mean, I think
it's
fine.
I want to do a nice little photo shoot and post them on our socials because they're incredible. So we'll have to put them on our terrain when they're done.
So we can get a close up here with Ebony's little handy cam.
Alrighty.
So yes, I will just get that up on the screen in a second. But yes, we were sent these yeah, I feel like I'll repeat myself in the upcoming episode of Realignment, but we were sent these minis that were hand sculpted by a channel, JS Minis, amazing member of our community who hand sculpt stuff out of wire and modeling clay. But the story that goes along with this is just wild because obviously living in Australia, we had to get posted these over from overseas. And the first package with our minis didn't actually arrive. It got lost in the post somewhere. It ended up at a depot in Australia somewhere, but it never actually got to us. So thank you to Australia Post for that one. But we're never going to get monetized by Australia Post. It's fine. So it was very sad because we were like all this work, all this like awesome creativity went into making these minis, and they never actually got to us. But not to be deterred, JS Minis was like, screw it, I'll just make them again. And
which is insane. Like the level of detail on these is just nonsense. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you so much to JS Minis for sending us to these. They're incredible, and they will be on prominent display in our set for a long time, I'm sure.
Yeah. They're like our most prized possession.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's awesome. Well, why don't we crack on to another question? We've got heaps coming in here. We have one. If you could commission a sculpture, what would it be of? Which is a great question. Thank you.
Is this just
anyone who says themselves gets deducted 10 points?
I'd love like the realignment school.
And it's like the next big terrain we build. We build a miniature of
That'd require me to actually work out how it actually works. Because at the moment it's just like a bunch of nodes that don't really connect, but you know.
They're there. There's a thing, and also another thing over there.
If anyone is a town planner and would like to come on board as a commission to town plan an academy, that makes sense in a logical way, sure. I would love that.
Does it have to make sense? It's a magic school.
Maybe it moves. I mean, that's how
it's been done.
No. Yeah, let's not do that one. Look, I think I remember I drove Ruby insane, our wonderful illustrator Ruby, who has been working on stuff in the background. When we were first sort of like concepting the aesthetic of the school and everything, I just threw so many just impossible geographic features at her, and she was like, this makes no sense whatsoever. How could it be on a waterfall and also not? Like,
pick one.
Yeah, so sorry, Ruby. But yeah, you know, like, pick a generic fantasy aesthetic and just go with that one. Everything's canon here.
Mm-hmm.
But if I could commission a sculpture, I feel like I'd commission a sculpture of, you know, an underrepresented historical figure. Because what else are sculptures for, if not historical figures? But we could definitely do with less of Captain Cook.
Yes.
So
please.
anybody else?
Yes. Please. No more Captain
Yeah,
Cook.
I feel like that's what I would commission a sculpture of. Or like, you know, an underrepresented historical figure. Who's your favorite underrepresented historical figure?
Olimar.
Put it in the chat. Yeah.
I want one you could climb on. Like, you've gone like in a really logical direction.
Yeah.
And my brain.
You want fun one.
I want fun.
What about a Escher staircase?
Yes,
Oh yeah.
An Escher-esque playground.
That just makes no sense to actually exist in real life.
Yeah. I'd be down.
But it has to be a sculpt. Yeah.
It could be sculpted, right?
Sculpted.
You can sculpt.
But really, I just want someone to build cool stuff I can climb on, because I keep looking at sculptures. And I'm like, but what if?
So Regan is our local circus person, hence the constant impulse to climb.
If I could climb?
If there's an opportunity for Regan to be upside down and or hanging from something, that is where she will be.
Yeah.
Is this my moment?
No.
Yes. It's time.
There's these really fun beams in the ceiling, and they won't let me on camera.
Yeah, I need my house to stay up.
Yes. Yeah.
A fully like modular sculpture that you could rearrange to be different things and climb all over would be.
But not fun. Tell them, and I'd just sneak in overnight.
All right, here's a good Pathfinder question. what do you do with your third action? What do you use your third action for?
Panic.
Panic.
Using a conflux spell so I can use spell strike again.
Yeah. Regan is our magus or however you want to pronounce it in our home game.
And learning how it works.
And how does Arcane Cascade work? How does anything work? I don't know. Third action. I mean, honestly, take cover is the most underrated action.
Super underrated. That's what was gonna be.
Just it's one of those aspects that you always forget, and it's like if you're standing next to something that is reasonable, like just take cover because you'll get so much extra defense. And it's a mechanical option. Also, just like if you have a shield, it's always just a good idea to raise a shield.
I always end up with the shield block feat, so it'll sort itself out.
Yeah.
I don't know. I play a weird range of characters, and often it'll be like I'll reload, I'll move, shoot, reload, or if I'm not using ranged attacks, like what am I doing right now?
You have a familiar, so that kind of
or I will often like command a familiar, or sometimes I'll only use one action and I'll ready an action. Underrated. Like quick alchemy, ready in action for that primo moment.
Aiding as well. Aiding is also great.
Aid, fully.
My current character is a skeleton bard, and he is like a full-on.
Was it Ernest Skellingwaits?
No,
that was a joke.
Canon.
But yeah, he's got a bonkers sort of aid opportunity now because he can use performance to aid due to one of his class options, and so I can use my best skill to aid, as well as taking like the skeleton ancestry gives you some access to your like another ancestry's feats due to basically which ancestry were you before you became a skeleton.
What were you?
Human. So and there's some great cooperative feats you can get as a human, which just make your aid very, very effective. So honestly, giving other people buffs is a great way to play because you can just sort of sit back and be like, here, you do your thing good.
And like in our casual games, we have a 7-person party. Because it's not the most efficient way to play a TTRPG, I will admit. So oftentimes we do have to get a little bit strategic just about how you use your actions, because you're not just going to get to smack every time. So it is good to look at those other actions like aid and like ready in action to, I mean, ready in action is just to usurp your moment. You go, I can't do anything right now. I'll do it on your turn. Yeah.
I mean, if you take the 2 Pathfinder games that I've played so far,
so we're not asking Cam. Cam doesn't show up to our games.
I mean, I've always had a mount, and it's just always make my mount do something. I've not played without a mount.
Yeah, why have 3 actions when you can have 5?
All right, I think we should move on with some questions. There's more coming in.
Yeah, you got one. Ooh. RPG system we'd recommend for an absolute beginner to the genre. Lasers and feelings. Yeah. Really, really simple. One sheet. Everything gets rolled up. Yeah. I mean,
it's kind of it's a difficult question because like lasers and feelings, we feel it's easy because we're actually familiar.
That's true.
And so like people who aren't necessarily used to using their imagination and kind of role playing anything may need some more prompts.
I mean, Monster of the Week is also something that's similar, easy, like roll up, not a lot of pre-prep.
Yeah, I think things that emulate a genre really well, like a lot of the Powered by the Apocalypse games, are particularly effective as like a first game because the sort of fantasy of playing in a genre, like a Monster of the Week, Buffy the Vampire Slayer thing, can kind of lend people to sort of think fiction first, I guess.
And you get the tropes. Like, you see what's supposed to happen here, so your decision-making is a little bit simpler. Yeah.
But, like, there's absolute rules light systems out there that would be really tricky for a first-time player to try and, grok. Yeah, because they're just not familiar and they just don't know what you can do. Sometimes you need options there to say, this is what you can do. as opposed to it sort of being open form.
Yeah, like something like Troika would be an absolute nightmare for someone.
If you haven't had a chance to play Troika, play Troika.
Please,
It's-
we have almost all the books coming in, so we might do a little Troika stream or something.
Yeah,
'Cause it's super fun.
Yeah.
Can recommend checking it out just for the art alone. It's very, very cool.
We're really hoping to start up doing a monthly stream and just filling those slots with anything. So painting streams is one of them, but also just like trying out random little strange RPGs, doing one shots would be a lot of fun.
Got the the paper copy of Grok coming as well.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm keen for that.
Yeah.
I finally started reading Thirsty Sword Lesbians.
Yeah,
Thirsty
that
Sword
one.
Lesbians.
Thirsty
Yeah.
Sword
Happening.
Lesbians is first on
Yeah.
the ticket.
Which won the Any gold, I think.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
If you want to trick people into enjoying, like finding their enjoyment in RPGs, like
Yeah.
Mansions of Madness is the most ultra beginner intro.
Yeah,
You
it's
get
actually an
2
interesting
actions.
thing is like some board games might actually be better introductions because you have a very like, gamey rule set that kind of you don't necessarily need to role play much outside of, but then you can kind of flavor it if you want to. So potentially an avenue through board games is a natural progression.
And I mean, there's a heap of like kind of almost roleplay heavy, like board games as well. There's
Yeah.
lots of
Yeah.
options.
Yeah, I still have to play Oath.
I mean, honestly,
I bought Oath months ago and I still haven't had a chance to play it.
Mansions of Madness is probably your
Yeah.
that's probably the board game that feels most like you're playing an RPG because you're stressed the whole time.
Especially,
Gloom.
Gloom, yeah.
Because Gloom is like none of the kind of tabletop elements, but it is a storytelling game. It just gives you a bunch of prompts. Destroy the family and tell a story about it.
Especially with Mansions, if you get people to act as their character would act rather than they want to, makes it step in that.
Yeah.
All right, we have a follow-up from Neurolancer about our third action. If Pathfinder was in real life, what would you do with your third action?
Oh no.
We have to more stringently adhere to the 6-second.
So, well, yeah.
Because we chat way too much.
Yeah. No, we'd be dead if Pathfinder was in real life.
Yeah. Please do not put us in stressful situations. We will suffer.
Mine is probably sit. Any opportunity to sit down, that's where I'll be. Sitting.
Pet familiar.
Pet familiar.
In real life, I would be a druid.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they need scritches.
Yeah.
They do.
I should mention, just before we go on, that even though we are the people here, there are other members of Hijinks in the chat at the moment. So if you do have questions that we don't specifically answer, you may get answers from Jara. She's on the deck over there managing the stream. Thank you, Jara. And T and Luke, I believe, are in the chat as well if you want to chat about realignment stuff or anything in particular.
Yeah. Tyler may be very well hopping in later as well.
Tyler as well. Yeah. What is everyone's favorite Pokemon? Cam, I feel like you should start this one off as the Pokemon Grandmaster.
Yeah, when I was younger, I got fairly high up in the Pokemon world. Please don't Google me.
Please Google immediately.
He had to quit in disgrace.
Yeah, I did.
His career completely blew up in
Do you
flames.
still have all your cards?
I do. I've got a Charizard or 2 rocking around somewhere.
I'm coming over for June to look at your Pokemon cards.
I think it's probably got to be Alakazam got me through to top 4
Nice.
for Australia years and years and years ago, and that was a sleeper pick. So, but Starmie is my nemesis because Starmie absolutely wiped my team.
I can't believe we have a Pokemon
What a nerd.
legend among us. How did I not know this?
It was,
I didn't know that.
I was very young, and there was a
How
national
young?
competition.
Like 12?
8, and I
Damn.
got beaten by a 19-year-old.
I mean, that is the age that
Yeah.
like 8 to 12 is kind of the age that the protagonists are. So
I've
they were hitting their market.
I've only cracked top 500 a couple of times since then, but it's really hard now. People are really good at it, whereas back then you can kind of just rock up and be like, I like these Pokemon, and do pretty well.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Regan, favorite Pokemon?
Wartortle.
Wartortle is
Yeah.
great. Like, whatever happened to the little cloud things on its ears?
I love them so much.
That should have stayed in the
Every time I
evolutionary
have to
line.
pick my starter, I'm like, I love Bulbasaur, but I love Wartortle.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
What about
Scandalous.
you,
I'm a
Gianni?
Bulbasaur fan.
No, they go Bulbasaur's the best of the three, and then War Turtle, and then Charizard.
Yeah.
You get the like. Anyway.
So I'm a Gen 2
Oof.
believer. Yeah, I know. Sorry in chat. But I loved Gen 2, and my favorite Pokemon is Ladian, which is absolutely useless. But
Yeah.
I just
Horrible.
love the aesthetic. It's very like Kamen Rider kind of aesthetic, and just like little punchy bug is just like I love it. I love it so
Bug that
much.
smacks.
Yeah.
You may look at me for an answer. I don't have one for you. I was not a sheltered child, but we were not a video game household, and therefore I do not have an encyclopedic knowledge of Pokemon that I may refer to. But I like them.
Pick one for you.
Yeah, which do you think would be my favorite Pokemon? I mean, I know some of them. I do.
Jigglypuff.
That's fucking rude.
What about Klefki?
I mean, look, there's something in my heart. I don't know if they're useful in any way, but I do love Diglett just for the aesthetic of a tiny little creature
Little
that lives in the
mole friend,
ground.
yeah.
Little mole friend.
Yeah.
I relate.
Doug Trio
Do
for
you know
one-on-ones
what's
is
under-
powerful.
I just want to know what's underneath. We all want to know what's underneath.
Nope. Horror's untold. Should we start painting stuff?
Yeah, are you guys
We've now popped
ready?
out most of our things.
Some
Let's
of it.
go.
Yeah.
All right.
So please, for context, Ebony and Regan are very skilled painters. Cam and I are not. So
Got the full spectrum.
yeah,
of,
we're relying on these two to give us a bit of a tutorial, and for anyone who may not be super familiar with mini or terrain painting as well, like hopefully this is interesting to learn
it's
the
sort
way.
of a little tutorial. It's a little bit fast and loose, but that's how I like to paint terrain. Look, there's a lot of it, and it can take a little while if you get cut down in the details. And honestly, one of the big things about this terrain that's really nice is that their details, like the carving on them, is gorgeous. You actually don't have to do that much to make them look really, really lush.
Yeah.
So like I said, we've got two sets here. We have an Abomination Vaults set and we have a Dwarven Mine set. So we can kind of get a little bit loose. And as I said already, we have already primed these guys, so they're ready to go. So the first kind of thing you want to do is lay down your base colors. It's probably going to be easiest for us to start with our floor pieces. And so you kind of just want to pick, what color. There's a kind of a magic 3-step process to painting terrain and really minis in general, which is 4th-step, I should say. You want to prime it because it's plastic and your paint's not going to stick if it's not primed. And then you want to lay down your base color, and then you want to... This is the bit that's up for contention. You can either do your dark wash, which is like a really wet mix of basically black paint, and then your dry brush, which is where you pick up the highlights in your minis, or you can dry brush and then dark wash. There's arguments for both of them. One kind of marries everything a little bit more together and makes it a little bit murkier. One's a little bit more, like pop arty. It makes it pop a little bit more. So there's arguments for both of it. If you've got a preference, if you're a mini painter, what do you like to do? Maybe we'll try it both ways and see what we like. So if you want to pick your base colors, we have a world of colors here. I think this is the gray over here, if people are interested in some gray. We've got neutrals, we've got browns, we've got some blues and greens if you want to get funky with it, mix up some colors for yourself. So why don't we...
So the terrain itself is very like stone kind of, at least for the Abomination Vaults one, it's kind of stone, but like I'm thinking maybe like a little bit of green in there might be fun to kind of make it a little bit sort of oxidized,
Yeah,
a
a little
mossy
bit
or
wet.
or similar. Yeah,
I feel like the Abomination Vaults are a damp
dank.
place.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll go with like a colder stone look, like a blue and
Yeah, a little bit
Gray.
of blue in there, a little bit of green.
It's gonna look so great when we put them all together at the
Yeah.
it's just a
Well,
little,
if we just like
little
mix
rainbow.
them up. Yeah. And these guys have like, I really like that there's, in the Abomination Vaults ones, they've got like little grates in the floor, so you can ooze things up from there. There's a couple of fun details that actually really nicely lend themselves to sort of storytelling
Like these ones have little
elements.
like this piece in particular has like a little, I don't know if we can get the macro cam up
The
on
tentacles.
it. Yeah, it's got like a little Cthulhu octopus on the
Yeah.
face of it, and it's got tentacles running along the sides of the sort of adjacent walls, which is like really nice.
Yeah, the
detail.
doors as well have these like gorgeous kind of tentacle details. And another very cool thing, which I appreciate because I love tiny objects, is the doors are actually working. The doors actually work. Yeah, there's like a whole bunch of gorgeous scatter terrain in the set as well. You get like little rocks, tiny torches. I love that the torches are actually detachable because it means that you can kind of choose how much light you give to your party and how many torches they actually have access to.
Okay.
And it's totally modular. So let's get some color on these bad boys.
All right, have you got grey there?
Yeah, so we've got white and black. So we
Okay.
can pick our...
I don't know how to mix those things together.
It's alright, Gianni, I believe in you.
How do grey?
Yeah, how do?
How do? Regan.
Blob.
Please advise.
Blobs man, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While we're doing that, I will find another question. Have you used any? So thank you. This is Morgan Woolbank. Have you used any of the AI tech to bring to life your concepts? I found they're so awesome when bringing to life larger areas like entire cities. Yeah, I haven't really played around too much with things like I'm assuming this is like the AI generated art and everything, which is a wild craze at the moment. Pretty impressive stuff. I personally haven't used it to sort of create anything, but it'd be interesting to sort of consider what prompts I would use to, make Beetroot or Kellen or Milo through the AI art.
I found it really, really good for changing perception. So like if you have an idea of something or you're not quite sure how it should roll out, I just throw a bunch of things into a bunch of the like DALL-E or whatever they are, Mid-Journey, and see what they spit out, and then that gives you more inspiration to then take in a direction and go, oh, I know now, not that but that, or not that but that.
Yeah.
I haven't found them like they produce some beautiful things, but they're not quite able to translate it yet.
A lot of people like get depictions of the like gods of like the gods of glory and or anything like that of their homebrew gods as well, which I think is a really fun way because you rarely get a truly humanoid representation, which I think is a really fun way to represent that. I was totally thinking in a totally separate AI direction because I know that that there is a few like AI tabletop systems as well that I've seen kicking around. I think is it a Barton that was working on the AI tabletop system? Yeah. So whose name I cannot remember right now. What was it called? Caleb. Yeah. So Jera's sibling is actually works on developing a AI tabletop system, which is called something. We'll put it in the chat when I can remember.
That's
AR. Yeah, I'm
yeah.
smart. It's all right. I got brains
No, we got it.
and thoughts.
No, it's all good. I mean, it uses some intelligence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is. It's
Yeah.
digital.
Yeah.
Ignore me.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I'm over here just painting. Don't worry
I
about
was
it.
today years old when I found out these people I've known for years are related.
All of the Bartons are related. Yeah.
Anyway.
Hello.
Okay, Iron Chestnut, what do you think of the Kineticist playtest? I have read through
Hot
it.
topic.
I have not played. Check the Reddit. I personally love all the flavor of it. I would love to see it. I think there are definitely very contentious topics at the moment out there about key ability scores and how much should a blaster blast versus not be a blaster versus what is DPS versus is it a martial, is it a caster? Anyway, lots of conversations. I don't feel like I need to really. I don't think I have anything new to add to those circles. But I love the direction of trying to give it it almost feels like its own little subsystem of abilities that really let you do that kind of, and I hate to say the A word, but the Avatar kind of feeling of oh yes, I can master this and this and do cool stuff. I would love to see some more specific utility stuff, I guess. I know that the Earth Kineticist it gets like, stone armor, which is really cool, but kind of comes in kind of late, where I feel like that's sort of a key part of the fantasy is like, yes, make armor out of stone.
Man.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I definitely have faith in the playtest process. We've seen it with the other classes in the past, where it's like things will come out, they'll be contentious, and then they'll usually sort of absorb
Work
that
it
stuff
out.
into a final product. Yeah.
I have the overwhelming urge to make a really controversial statement about something I know nothing about. Because
What do you think?
Yeah. What do you think,
What do
Regan?
you think about the kineticist, Regan?
I think the balance is really off with the weaponry versus the defensive mechanics that they've incorporated so far. But the characterization potential in especially the third option down, incredible.
Very nice.
Thank you.
I mean,
If you disagree with Regan, feel free to fight.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
This
I
is
think
my
my
favorite
main thing is that I love the feat name flavor.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
so fun. It's so silly.
I think
it's
that's
so
a universal.
fun. Everyone's like, yes, this is the best part of the
Blue as sky of infinite heaven, or whatever it is.
That's what you were reading at the
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All shall end in flame. It's very Dragon Ball Z kind of just, you're just shouting at each other across a field as you power up.
Same.
Yeah.
Just saying.
James Beck, where do you see the Pathfinder community moving forward in the coming year, as we have started year 3 of Pathfinder? Oh my gosh. Where do you see the Pathfinder community moving forward in the coming year? So what's going to happen in the Pathfinder community? I don't know. I think it's growing very quickly.
Super quickly.
And like that's exciting. It's also terrifying as to like how do we sort of position ourselves amongst that. But I think it's great to see this I guess renaissance of tabletop gaming that's been going on for a few years now. But with Pathfinder specifically, like I spend a lot of time engaged in the community on Twitter and on Reddit, and it's great to see like a whole bunch of I guess advocates kind of coming out and really sort of championing getting people into the game and being really sort of supportive and warm and having like a really nice reception of people into it. So that's really awesome to see. As for like where it's gonna go, I don't know. It's hard to say.
I'm really excited to just like see kind of where like third party
Yeah, all the homebrew
content
stuff.
goes and like
Yeah.
the homebrew
Add to it
stuff.
and-
Like I just think it's so cool to have a community that's really working on being focused of like kind of collaborative storytelling and that whole thing, and being able to like play somebody else's world and being able to share like, hey, like this is this incredible fantasy world that I thought up and I want to share it with you. So I think that's pretty cool. I really hope Pathfinder Infinite just like keeps getting more support and like has more and more infrastructure, because I think that's probably one of the coolest things that's happening in the community.
Do we add a little bit of water to this, or just straight up whack it on?
Put a little bit of water. Do whatever you want.
Cool.
You feel believe in the
in the soul.
texture. That let the texture speak to you. If it feels like it needs to be a little bit more fluid, you make it so.
I would like
Make
to
it
know
dry.
that I have mixed together a grey colour, which is the exact same colour as the primer. And as I put it on, it does nothing.
I've gone with a quite like mossy green kind of
that's
wet
good. Yeah.
tone. So
I'm still
Like I said,
meticulously
dank.
cutting off all of the. Hello.
that's okay, Regan.
On brand? On brand.
Yeah, on brand.
Oh my god, I'm so far behind.
No, you
run.
guys are speedy.
Speaking of terrain, how often do you use battle maps in your home games, and what's the most extra prop you've used?
We normally use a whiteboard marker on a whiteboard and then the bottle caps of all of the beers we drink.
I know that we look very efficient, but that's just for you guys. We're
Pretty
our
loose.
home games are very whack.
fast and loose,
Yeah,
quite chaotic.
We scribble on a whiteboard. There's just too many people to try and do it theatre of the mind, so we definitely try to mix it up with, just throwing stuff on a board.
Every once in a while, whoever's
Oh.
GMing will be prepared and print out a map for us, which is a very special day.
That happened that one time.
Yeah.
My,
And the most extra is the island.
The island is the most extra thing
Oh.
we've ever played with.
Yeah, 100%.
Watch out, because it will be coming
Making a
back.
comeback.
Ultimate Arena V2. Yeah,
V2.
It's a shame we never the original stream was very technically difficult for us. This is the Ultimate Mage Arena stream that we did last year.
Hello, they left me in charge of the OBS.
No, but we lost some footage from it. Unfortunately, the audio was clipping quite a bit, so it was actually quite unbearable to watch for 6 hours. I'm sorry.
But if you do want to watch it, if you want to watch an 8-player versus player spellcaster arena battle, the link is on our Discord. You can go check it out.
If you join our Discord server, you
First
can
time
watch
you
it.
ever played.
Yeah.
That was my first full Pathfinder game.
No spoilers.
But that is the most OTT prop we've ever used.
Yeah.
It's got lights.
Yeah, it is. We can't really see it, but there's a trailer on our channel. So if you haven't seen it, go and watch the trailer. It's very hype.
Next question, speedrun.
Yeah, sorry. There's just a lot of Pokemon chat. Pokemon tournament stream when? Cam, you can organise that.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
have it.
There's a lasers.
Are we doing a Nuzlocke stream on our Hijinks gaming channel?
If you want to see me weep softly into the good night, we can do a hardcore Nuzlocke.
Yeah, Cam, you got to help me. New Lancer, I love the cast, but if you had to add a player to the realignment campaign, which ancestry class would you add?
I heard out and was like, oof.
Who are we kicking out? Yeah, it's a tough one. We like.
It's a pretty well balanced party. Like, there's not mechanically anything really missing.
Yeah, except just a good player.
Oh damn!
Hey, look, none of them are sitting here with me, so I can say no. I'm kidding. I love you all. Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe like, I mean, what? But Claire plays is a paladin, so lay on hands. Healing is covered. I was gonna say maybe
We've got smack. We've got spell. We've got fancy.
This green is not the green I wanted. I definitely need to color that out. Yeah, it's a bit tricky because like there is like a lot of redundancy between the classes, like which is a good thing because it means you can kind of fill the role with different options.
ways,
yeah.
Rogue?
But yeah, we haven't really got a very skill-based class. Like, you know, a bard or a rogue could work quite well. Like, yeah, we've got.
There isn't anyone who's out there buffing. Nobody's.
Yeah, that's true. You know, Milo's very much an illusionist kind of approach, which is definitely you know, the right flavor for his character. So it's something that could potentially buff is
like a bard
gap.
or a cleric or something.
Yeah.
It's a full summoner summoning.
Full summoner summoning. Well, we've already got like 2 familiars now.
The dog. I mean, spoilers. What?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so that's probably a good point to make is like, as far as like spoilers on realignment, we'll probably put a light spoiler tag up to episode 8. What? Yeah, 8 just came out. Yeah. So
don't talk about anything beyond 8.
Yeah. If you
know.
haven't watched up to episode 8, like just be mindful that we might mention something in passing that may not be a major spoiler, obviously, but just be mindful if you do want to sort of zone out for those points. Oh no, I don't know. I've lost where I am. No, you go. It's all good.
That's a good point, that they like putting clear perspex over their printed map so they can draw on it without destroying the map. Good point, good fact.
Yeah. What do you think about the psychic playtest? I have not looked at the psychic at all. I cannot comment on that. I don't think
where's
anyone else.
Tyler?
Tyler's our psychic enthusiast.
Needs more spoons.
Definitely needs Alakazam skin. What's your favorite old school D&D world? Oh, I don't know if any of us can really answer that. Does anyone play old school D&D?
No.
I mean,
I'm sorry. Yeah, we're not.
We're homebrewers.
I've actually only ever played homebrew.
Yeah, we've never played canon settings really. Occasionally in Galarian, but unfortunately none of the D&D settings have ever really crossed our games.
I mean, I'm a Baldur's Gate tragic, so like the whole Sword Coast is just magic. Yeah. The like playing those games and that transferring to playing is stunning.
Yeah.
But that's mainly because the games defined part of my childhood.
Yeah.
What made us decide to do a 3-player campaign instead of the standard 4? Only 3 people would allow Gianni to trap them into being players. No, I think it was just always that group. That was the plan.
I mean, like it's a part logistical thing. Like obviously, you know, we wanted to sort of make a cool set, which I think Ebony and Regan and Tyler have done, I think. And part of that is scale, like how much can we actually fit. Obviously we're sort of fitting the capacity of chairs at the moment. I definitely think that the plan is always to sort of have a fourth seat that we could slot people into. So I guess the idea was that we would have a core cast of 3 most of the time, but then we had sort of a space to add that fourth party member when we wanted to do.
As a guest role, if we have.
Yeah.
If we know anyone cool to come and play on our game.
Yeah. So that once we maybe start doing some little like external quests or something, we can sort of have that slot filled for a few sessions with new people each time. So it gets us the chance to get a whole bunch of cool people in to come and do fun stuff. But it also just like for an actual play, like it makes it a lot easier, I think, just to track
action.
Yeah, like cast, pacing's much easier with 3 versus more than that. Otherwise you start to get sessions where it's like, if you have a cast of 6+ people, it just starts to become like quite lethargic, I guess, as far as like moving anything along. Combats take hours, whereas our combats usually take like 20 minutes because we can go like bang, 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 we're done. So that's kind of the main advantage. And as well as for like audio experience, like we always wanted this to be a very podcast friendly setup, which is why we don't use sort of terrain or maps or anything. And having 3 people, or 4 people if you include the GM, is much easier to track as an audio experience because you're not sort of trying to put faces to a whole bunch of different voices.
Yeah. What's our favorite plane? And I assume you mean like material plane. but yeah, the Boeing. No, yeah. What's your favorite plane from Andrew Lepage?
Regan, you're probably the least knowledgeable. So what do you got?
Well.
Would you like to know your options?
There are so many planes. Do not list them all.
I liked the one with all the bunnies from the other week.
That was in the.
Yeah, the Dreamlands.
The Dreamlands.
Yeah. We had a fun Dreamland session.
I genuinely have no idea. I apologize.
Yeah.
I can make something up.
Yeah.
Okay, I love the forest plane and the trees. The size of the trees in that plane is just so cool.
Paizo, you listening? This is we're writing this content for you.
Yeah.
Like you can have it for free.
When you're first transported there, you think your size has been altered, but no, like the ancient forests in that realm are just gorgeous.
And what? Yeah. And which realm? What's the name of that realm?
The Forestria. Do they have names, or do they just have like?
They're usually the something.
The blank plane. The
I mean, they do have
the adjective
names.
noun.
The forest plane.
Yeah.
Zoom zoom.
Crushed it.
Nice.
I mean, like the kineticist playtest did hint that there would be a wood elemental source, so potentially a wood plane. I don't know if that is how I interpreted that, because there's a fire and a water and a.
People know we cuss. Sorry guys,
you can
cuss.
swear.
I apologize.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we're Australian. We're swearing. Sorry.
You said wood plane, and I was like, la 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 la.
Yeah. I mean,
Feywilds is always a fun time. Like,
yeah,
it's the classic chaotic sort of place, but or like I don't know. I like a lot of the creatures and also the ancestries that come out of the Maelstrom. So like the actual chaotic plane. I think that has
just like dragon dinosaurs. It's like, okay,
already
you're the embodiment of pure chaos. Fine.
Sure, I'll take it.
Yeah. Yeah. I really like a lot of the I think it's Axis, where a lot of the
lawful creatures come from.
Yeah. So like Axiomites, and they build what are the robots that they build? They're like automata kind of inevitables or something, I think they're called.
The horrific
yeah, Jarry, you know a lot more about Pathfinder lore. But yeah, like I just like, big robot, very fun.
Big mech.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was the tweet that you said today? All mechs are sexy. Yeah.
Ebs, do you have the base coat grey, or is that a separate thing?
It is a spray can.
Okay.
Yeah. It is outside, but
No.
I don't think we want to gas ourselves in this.
What set would you like Paizo to do with Archon? So yes, obviously this is the Abomination Vaults campaign specifically for that adventure path. I really like the idea of Outlaws of Aucklandstar, which is a very that's kind of like the gunslingery campaign. I think you could do some really fun
Wild West.
some fun sets with that. You know, get your.
They do also have a City of Absalom one as well that I think has just been released very recently. So there, if you are looking for a cheeky cityscape, and it also has a lot of cool details. It's got like these weird masks on the walls and stuff. So it's sort of like a Absalom like tavern sort of vibe, city vibe. Very cool.
I just realized something. I shouldn't be trying to paint both sides because then it'll kind of dry to the table, right? I should paint one side and then let it dry and then flip. Right, yeah, learning. Welcome to painting.
I'm sorry. That
As if you'd make that mistake. Is that scrap paper? We might chuck some of that.
You're better off putting it on plastic than paper.
Okay, sure.
So for all those beginners out there, I wanted to make a really obvious mistake so that you could see it in action.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to like start from ABC.
Yeah.
What was your number one artist on your Spotify wrap up last year? Mine was Jacob Collier. I'm a
Oh,
big nerd.
I actually can't remember.
Oh, I think it was Gloria Gaynor, What a Man, because
What?
I used that song in a performance I did, so I just had to listen to it on repeat while I practiced. What a man, what a man, what a man. A lot of thrusting, guys.
So it's just like very artificial stats coming through
Yeah.
because you're just doing it for rehearsals. Yeah, right.
Honestly, I think it was probably Marconi Union and their sleep album Weightless. Very,
what
very
that is.
possible that was my number one. It's good. It's a really, if you're after a sleep album, check out Weightless. All of the tracks, they basically wrote them. They hooked a bunch of people up to sleep machines and played a bunch of different types of sounds and music, and saw which got like the best sleep response, the most sleeping related to the sounds, and then made a bunch of tracks with like those different response sets. So some of them are like really kind of slow and soothing in your classic ambience, but a few of them are like quite rhythmic, and I think they're also timed out to this like sleep cycles as well, like your REM cycles. So there you go. There is one track that gets me sometimes if I haven't quite fallen asleep enough, and it's quite amped. So I don't know who you are out there in the world that falls asleep to that, but get the help that you need. Yeah.
It was a long time where I'd fall asleep on planes to psytrance for some reason. It would just knock me out.
And the people next to you were very frustrated because for 8 hours it's just.
I put classical music on and be bolt right awake and then try psytrance for some reason.
No, but I'm a podcast sleeper now. Sleep listening to podcasts. Here's a question, everybody. Favorite podcast at the moment? Go.
Oh, I mean, I'm smashing through Adventure Zone at the moment, and that's a really good time. But yeah, it's just the way that they have fun. Between,
They have good vibes.
Yeah, it's just a lot of wholesome vibes and a lot of shit talk.
Yeah, nice. Regan?
I'm going to shameless plug Queer Dungeoneers because, oh my god, I speed ran it when I had a job where I could listen to podcasts all day, and I just had so many feelings. The storytelling is incredible.
Very nice. Gianni?
I mean, I listen to a lot. I think like the only podcast that I genuinely will like listen to every week is actually Navarre's podcast, Secret Nerd podcast, which everyone in the Pathfinder 2e community and beyond should check out. Shameless plug. Ebony was a guest on there. Just great interviewer. Navarre's excellent. And
Everyone's
it's
different too. Like
yeah.
it's totally
yeah.
different.
So it's just kind of like one-on-one interviews with people in the tabletop community. Very chill. Like it's just awesome to sort of. I just listen to it on my morning walk and go get a coffee, and very relaxed, very sort of interesting chats. So that's probably my go-to. Other than that, I really like Hello from the Magic Tavern, just as like my kind of idle listening, because I don't really have to engage, and it's just good banter in the background. So yeah.
I've been re-listening to Welcome to Night Vale, a classic. Classic. Started that again from the beginning recently. It holds up. It's great. It's still so good. And honestly, all of their podcasts on their network are incredible.
Yeah.
Alice Isn't Dead is really great as well. And then Magnus Archives is probably... I'm a big fiction podcast listener, so Magnus Archives is probably my number one recommend for sure. But if you want to go to sleep...
You put so much effort into going to sleep.
I do.
It's
I've been
wild.
an insomniac in my life. Sleeping is very important. But Nothing Much Happens is a very good sleep podcast. They just tell you a little story, and I don't know what happens.
The title
in any
sounds
of them.
like it would be very great for sleep.
It sounds
because
exactly
just
the thing. Nothing
happens.
much happens. I actually couldn't tell you a single story because I'm asleep before we get to anything happening.
Excellent marketing by that team.
Yeah. So,
does what it says on the tin.
Those are my podcaster hacks.
Yeah. Do you prefer to be a GM or a player? From Morgan Woolbank.
Player, so I don't have to learn as many rules.
Have you ever GM'd anything, Regan?
Once.
Pull your weight. What are you doing?
I think...
What did you GM?
One shot when we tried to get Monster of the Week happening again.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, that's
run
right.
it.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a good one.
That was a good one. With the smoke. With the
Yeah.
Yeah, the exhaust pipes.
the exhaust demon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it again.
It's on my to-do list.
Yeah.
Yeah, do
I've
one
got a
and
day job.
do one for crafts.
Oh,
It is on
the
my
bane
to-do
of
list.
everyone is the day job.
Yeah.
Cam?
I love GMing, but I rarely do it because I don't have much prep time. But it's just so much fun to see a world come alive for people, and also you get to do a bunch of different voices instead of just one character. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think they, people are always like GM or player, but they both have, like, it's a very different experience, both times. And I also I really like both. I play more often because we have very many talented GMs, and I've not GM'd that often. But when I have GM'd, very good time.
Yeah, I mean, like, you should GM more of our games. We have.
Yeah, no, I want to. I've been thinking about one for our current casual campaign.
We kind of just have a rotating GM setup, so
Yes.
anyone can jump in. It's fun.
Yeah, which is good because, like we said, we all have day jobs. So, aside from Hijinks prep, which takes up most of our free time, casual game prep, for our sanity and mental well-being, it often takes a back burner. So it's worked pretty well. But I like both. I'm also like a big creative writer, so world building and all of that. I think that's why we all homebrew, right? It's a really fun avenue for writing.
Yeah. Lognit. When creating a campaign, what do you like to start with? For example, city, history, type of campaign, big bad evil guy, etc.
Concept.
Yeah.
For me, it's like what I'm taking this more broadly because obviously I've not planned a whole campaign, but I do creative things in other contexts, and I kind of pick 2 or 3 cool vibe, aesthetic, or concept things and figure out where the overlap is.
Oh,
So-
you have Pinterest boards, don't you?
No, I just keep it in my head. But like the last project I did was like, I really wanted to smash apart a piano. I really wanted to have some kind of ghost, and the person I was working with really wanted to have some kind of love story, and we found the overlap between those elements.
The piano that found their love.
It was a ghost. I think I actually start with setting. I'm a very visual person. So like when I close my eyes and think about my campaign, it's always setting first. Like, what is this world that we're playing in? And then my big bad and my cities and my story will come from that. That's usually how I plan things.
I see things in like a single moment often, and then have
Like
to
a snapshot. You're
Yeah.
such a filmmaker.
It's so annoying. But yeah, like I'm like, oh, okay. So there's someone on a pirate ship in the middle of the sky getting attacked by something, and they're trying
How
to
do we
escape.
get there?
Yeah. Well, what next? And then it's just building bits, and yeah.
But you, Jenny, you probably are. You are the with the most GM credits here at this table.
Yeah. What does that even mean?
You collect them and then you keep them in a little box.
Yes. Put a certificate on the wall. Yeah, I think I usually just start with genre first. Like I think about like, how do I do Jurassic Park as a campaign or something, and then just kind of, but let's do Jurassic Park on Mars, and then it's like, cool, what would serve that? Because I think like a lot of the campaigns in the past, I've sort of like started with a, I guess like, an aesthetic, as you say, like a genre that I'm kind of like, cool, we're going to be running a magic shop. That's just the setup. And then it's like, cool, let's go from there. So yeah, I think I just like, I think it's really easy to just sort of find something in popular media and be like, how can we emulate this in a fun and interesting way? Because it just gives people a really easy starting point to be like, this is what character would fit into that world.
I mean, as a general rule, I think as a whole, our entire group and company also often just ask the question, how can we make this weird? How can this thing be weirder? Yeah. How can it be more full of puns and more chaotic in general? Yeah, that's often the vibe. Question.
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously for realignment, magic school, even though it's not technically a magic school, it's, it's the genre. That was like something I wanted to do. I'll say this bitterly before it was cool. Before it started appearing everywhere in tabletop areas. I just thought it'd be a fun sort of playground as like a sandbox to be like, here's our setup, and then so many different ideas and stories can sort of spin out of that, and it's just that thing of like, it's a genre, so you kind of know what to expect, but then you can, I guess, play with that, riff off it, twist it. But now I'm really caught up on dinosaurs on Mars, and I really want to think about how we can do that in our next campaign.
We have a Troika book that's basically
we do have a Troika book.
We have a Paleozoic Pals, which is
oh my god, there's a whole splat book for it.
Yeah, it's like this thick.
Yeah.
Have we ever mistaken our drinking water for our painting water for our drinking water? Yes. That's why I am a little bit stupid sometimes. No, don't drink paint, kids.
Yeah.
But yes, often.
This cup of tea, precarious.
Yeah. Cam, if you could start a campaign next week, what would you do for it? What would be your go-to?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I think there's two things that I really want to smash together at the moment. One is tiny people, borrowers,
style,
fae, all that sort of stuff, and space pirates.
Tiny burrowing space pirates.
Yeah, so like
great.
either like tiny
green.
pirates
I made a mistake.
on a tiny ship in the normal world, trying to
Let it dry and pitch over it.
it's like they are space pirates, but they're just a small crew, and you have to try and compete with the big crews, or it's everything scaled down, and your world seems fantastical and magical, but you are just part of the normal world, but miniature. I don't know. Those two things.
I mean, sci-fi borrowers would be incredible. Like you're on a spaceship, but you're a borrower's family. Borrowers. Wow, that's the paint drinking.
They could turn asteroids into little like spaceships.
Yeah, Jared just said that they could use asteroids as their spaceships, which would be tight.
I really like the idea of some sort of campaign where you are completely insignificant to everything that's going on. Like you feel like you're big and powerful or whatever in your own...
Oh, so Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah.
I was going to say life.
Yeah.
I don't need a game to get that power fantasy game.
Guys, it's like 10 a.m. The angst.
The angst is eternal, Regan.
I just like because there's so much narratives, like meta narratives, like the Avengers and all that sort of stuff around, and it's like, yeah, cool. The stakes are always save the world,
Yeah.
and I love the stakes where it's like,
My lunch.
yeah, yeah.
That's your go-to.
But it's like
my lunch?
we're trying to save our world, and you're like, okay, cool, but that doesn't really matter to anyone else.
I'm seeing John Wick, but it's like in the office break room and someone's eating your lunch and you just go on a full rampage. It's like,
So wait,
my lunch.
Wait, you play as John Wick, the space borrower.
Borrower. Who needs his lunch?
I need my snack bag.
The hanger is real.
Yeah.
Nice. That's.
Next question.
Let's have a look at what do we got.
Do we have any more?
I think so. Ask anyone got a question. Ask us.
It
a question.
doesn't have to be game
Relevant
related.
in
Could
any
be
way.
Yeah.
could be anything abstract.
I mean, Cam, are you hyped for Baldur's Gate 3?
I have been playing some of it, and it is really fun.
That's the Larian one, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely blends a couple of play styles, which are really fun, and it gives you a bit more of that like just in time feeling. I'm sad to lose the nostalgia, tabletop feeling of the first
sort of
two.
isometric kind of thing.
Yeah, and but it still keeps a couple of those elements. I'm pretty hype, but I'd say like cautiously hype because I feel like most of the joy of that was encapsulated in that era, and trying to replicate it with 3 is really difficult.
Yeah, I mean, like, I sort of felt the same way about playing like Pillars of Eternity, which is like great game, but very much old school, like crunchy kind of, that crunchy sort of old school, was it CRPG vibe, and it's hard to kind of like, I know I get lost in the numbers trying to optimize stuff, and so it's like when those are available, I get very much down that rabbit hole. But I did really love Divinity, the Divinity games by Larian, so I have faith that they can pull together something fun.
I failed to see what a lot of modern gaming can bring to those games from like a decade or more ago.
Yeah.
Except if we did something like VR based where you were able to do it and step into it, but use like the isometric Baldur's Gate, Diablo original style would be so dope, because then you could do like what they do with Astro Adventure or Astrobot's a Big Adventure, or those sorts of things where you are in VR but playing a game, and that's wild.
I mean, game that you'd love to see put into a VR system.
I mean, that actually would be like it, rather than us trying to like augment tabletop, I'd love to see VR to enable like cross-world tabletop, but keeping the best of that adventure so that you can make things come to life. Or if you're like, okay, it's a skill-based check.
Perform a skill.
Like,
Get climbing.
I'm here for this.
Yeah.
I think that would be a really good take. But honestly, I want to see more stuff like the things that take the best elements of VR, which is like size, scale, time, those sorts of pieces. So yeah, I think there's a lot of room still for us to get good VR games down pat. It's such an emerging medium. But yeah, I think puzzle games and group games that have elements added to them. Keep Talking, No One Explodes is still like the epitome of...
It's
very simple.
super simple and just so effective and heaps of fun. I mean, honestly, something like Foundry that would be compatible with like a VR headset system would be pretty tight. Being able to use your virtual tabletop in a truly virtual tabletop sense would be pretty tight. So
if you can be like, here is your campsite for the evening, or here is the thing that you're in, and you just are surrounded by it for a moment, and then you can go back to just chilling and chatting, would be
very cool. Even just a simple like point and click, like, you know, to prepare your spells today, like click on your spell book and that's you taking your prepare spell action, and you got your little timer that clicks down. That would be very sick.
I've seen some amazing AI generated environments for that, actually, where they do like the 360 photo for you to step into in AI really quickly, so your DM can quickly describe it, and then it'll make something that looks like it is really cool.
That's pretty cool.
Okay, got some new questions. They're not showing up on my phone, but they are showing up on the laptop, so sorry if we missed some. Yeah.
They weren't showing up on my iPad either.
Yeah. Connection must be bad. Neurolancer, what is your favorite Pathfinder adventure path? Has anyone actually played? Start, Jarrett. Have you played one?
We're the wrong
Yes.
one.
As we mentioned, we usually play Homebrew. I did cobble together a bunch of different ideas from first edition adventure paths back years ago when we were playing some stuff. And out of the ones that I was reading through then, this is minor spoilers for the Reign of Winter campaign. So if you want to tune out for a minute. But the Reign of Winter premise, I think it was Reign of Winter premise, is just goes off the rails. Like you end up in like actual World War II at some point, and like you rescue Anastasia, and it's like, what is happening? Like it's wild. There's some weird multiverse kind of jumping stuff that happens in it, and it's just it's just so weird to see. A traditional sort of like fantasy thing just go balls to the wall bonkers. So that was really fun. Another one that I really liked and really wish I'd had the chance to play was the Mummy's Mask AP. That was very much like, you know, Egyptology kind of tomb delving, the mummy vibes, which looks very cool. There was a camel race in it, so you know that's got me on board. I love a good chase. I love a good race sequence.
I thought it was the camel bit of that for a
Right.
second.
Good old Gianni and his camels.
I love a good camel.
I mean, question for the chat. What would be your number one recommended AP in first or second edition? Like, what is your top recommended AP? Let us know. Maybe we'll play it.
I think it's just tricky for us because like we do kind of just like to be pretty
Fast and loose.
Pretty freeform.
Yeah.
Like we don't typically have like the same group every week, so we try to stick to more sort of episodic kind of stuff, which doesn't make a lot of sense. And we'd have to do a whole bunch of like level and stat adjustments on the APs to sort of suit a bigger party.
The size of our party.
And it just means like it makes it actually quite a big burden on the GM, because then you're sort of like having to justify sort of adding a whole bunch of extra loot in, and then does that break stuff? I don't know. So yeah, our play style and play group is just typically not conducive to playing the adventure paths. But like that said, I do enjoy reading them. They are super cool and very fun to read and just like pull ideas from. Jules has asked all-time favorite fantasy book series or standalone. All right, everyone, pull out your YA medals.
My all-time favorite is actually by an Australian author. But it is the Bitterbind trilogy. Yeah, top tier. Really good.
Excited gasps from the monitoring desk.
Sidelines, yeah. So it's 3 books: The Ill-Made Mute, Lady of the Sorrows, and Battle of Evernight. Absolutely slaps. One of the best twists in the first book. That one got me. And Cecilia Dart Thornton is the author, and her description and integration of like lore that exists in our world, and then the way that she twists it and makes it fit her beautiful fantasy world. It's awesome. Can't recommend. Highly recommend. Go get it right now.
I'm not going to give away the twist, but when I read The Ill-Made Mute, I'm so used to that twist happening in my real life that I was in no way surprised.
Gang, I feel like this is very niche. Can't just talk in like,
good.
you know that
What's the
spoiler?
twist?
How spoiler was that spoiler?
There's the twist. What was it? Go find out.
Yeah.
For nostalgia's sake, I still absolutely love The Trickster duology by Tamora Pierce. Was it Trickster's Choice and Trickster's something?
Shard? No.
Queen? I don't know. Summit.
Something.
So that one, I'll go back and read that every couple of years because it just makes my soul happy. But as an adult, I love and hate Patrick Rothfuss, and I love and hate the Mistborn trilogy.
Yeah. I just hate the Mistborn trilogy,
I
so
know.
we can talk
Yeah.
off screen about that.
Gianni, you're gonna get so many hate messages.
I feel like we have a whole channel in our Discord.
Yeah, look, we've
Sprung out of
we've
the
done
Mistborn
this.
debate.
We've done this.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on the Skyfall quadrilogy?
Great Bond film.
Wait, there's 4 of them now?
I think there's
3.
4. Was it 3? Oh.
I really like the first one.
Good concept.
I feel like the world building didn't support the direction it went in.
It got real. It just took a hard left.
Yeah. So it's like we've set up a premise, and what if we just like ended up over here?
Actually, has anyone read the Bartimaeus trilogy?
Oh, I read the first one. It's got like the weird goblin or something in it, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
it's an amulet or something. That
Yeah,
turns
Amulet of
into a-
Samarkand.
Yeah.
I just love that it's written from the perspective of a sassy imprisoned Jean.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that.
Um,
Yeah, I read that ages ago.
I mean, I think I do have to do a YA honorable mention for urban fantasy, which is the Skullduggery Pleasant series. Also very good. If you're looking for a really easy read that honestly still holds up and is very entertaining, that one is awesome. Set in Ireland, main character is a skeleton. I mean, it's already good. So there's that one too. I actually haven't ever read Mistborn though, which is bad as a fantasy nerd. I feel like I'm letting down my demographic.
You didn't miss much.
But yes, I have never partook.
Oh my god, How to Lose a Time War.
Also good.
I'm not sure actually.
Just incredible writing. It's like a novella, and it's not your typical fantasy adventure romp. It's a series of letters in between the 2 main characters. But it just made me have so many feelings. Mutterings from the corner I can't quite hear.
Yeah.
And Murderbot, my god. You've opened a can of worms here.
Anything by V.E. Schwab or Victoria Schwab. She makes amazing systems of magic.
Nice. I mean, I have recently been reading Priory of the Orange Tree, which is a great which is a great fantasy novel, but it's really nice. It's very refreshing. It's very centered around the female characters, and they are all very interesting and diverse, and the world is really cool. There's dragons. It's sick. So that's a recommend as well as far as a newly published book.
How tall is Gianni? Feet and inches. Imperial is best. From Juliet. I am 6'4".
Tall.
There you go.
Long.
I'm a lanky man.
Noodly boy.
I, for comparison, am 5'2".
Andrew LePage, what is the most esoteric piece of lore in one of your homebrew settings? Oh, where's Tyler? I don't remember anything.
I mean, actual lore. Step 1, ask for permission. Ask for the landholder's permission to close the rift.
Yeah, we in our current game we are basically a what would you say, an agency trying to stop a cataclysmic convergence of planes.
We're not stopping it. We are just.
Sorry,
We're liaising.
we're liaising. Yeah, you're right. And we T basically came up with a whole protocol, a lot of paperwork that
It's quite
that
bureaucratic.
we must follow in order to actually correctly and successfully perform our jobs, and we are reminded of it every session. Yeah, and we summon.
Hello,
Tyler's here.
It's
Hello.
Tyler. You perfect timing. We
Yeah.
have a question that might be good for you.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yep.
What is our most esoteric? What's the most esoteric piece of lore that you can remember from one of our games? Your head will probably be out of shot.
It totally is. Esoteric lore from one of our games.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
gush about some lore for a bit, Tyler. What do you like?
I was
Do we
trying to
have
think.
lore in our games?
I was trying to think about something from Ports Quartz and Portents, which was I mean,
I really liked the Pathfinder as a city built into the dormant caldera of a volcano. I remember you wouldn't stop saying the word caldera when we were playing
It
it.
just sounds like a made-up fantasy word.
Caldera.
I mean, I think my favorite thing was that in that campaign, capitalism ruined magic.
Yeah.
Which is always
Having a mages guild that was all about mass producing easy to use enchanted items in order to like just take over the city by having. And then I think I had it set up so the mages that wanted to learn magic in Port Jorio would have to by their nature go work for them.
Otherwise, you're illegal.
And you would only get taught spells if you put in the requisite work hours, producing mundane like pretty standard magical items, refilling flasks, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I have one from one of the first campaigns that I ran. There was a city where, in order to get to like one of the sort of one of the islands, you had to catch a ferry, which was basically you go fishing for fairies that lived in the water, and they would drag you along like a water, like like a tow line behind a water ski over to
like a mermaid
to
and
the
a
island.
dolphin.
Yeah,
Incredible.
yeah. And that came about because I mispronounced it once, and someone was like, "Wait, what?" And I'm like, "Yes, this is how it works now."
Jet ski.
Yeah, ferry jet ski.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that you're just part of the stream now.
Yeah. I was always planning.
Do you want to
come
sit?
down.
You can sit in.
Yeah, come join us. Do you want to paint
Yeah, I
some
need
stuff?
to pee. Do you want to tag you?
Yeah, yeah.
That's all good.
Swap in, swap out.
I gotta go back upstairs.
Cam, you've forgotten to cut the torch out of your doorway there, my friend.
It's an aesthetic doorway torch. I am an artist.
That's how it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
June, is it overrated or worth the read?
Is what overrated?
June.
The first book.
June. The first book's good.
Yeah.
The
and
rest
then-
are just whack.
People have read June.
Yeah, the first book's actually quite good. The
Yeah.
audiobook's really fun as well.
I'm gonna get so much hate for this.
I mean, look, this is going to maybe be
You can read
controversial.
anything.
Probably even for David Lynch himself, but I actually love David Lynch's June movie. It is just the right level of chaos for me. So I'm actually, that's maybe my favorite version of June. And I've not seen the new one yet because who has time to go and watch a 3-hour movie in the cinema?
To the cinema. To the cinema.
Actually, the prequels by his son are really enjoyable. The world building and the whole like how people came to be afraid of machines is really interesting.
David Lynch's son, or
No,
Herbert's son?
Brian
Frank
Herbert, I think.
Frank Herbert.
What a
Or
name.
Frank
Brian, Frank, Charles,
White man names.
Yeah.
Damn.
Dan, Gianni, Tyler.
Yeah.
I've done it again. I don't need to paint
But,
both sides.
I've been injured by scaffold.
Look, I think as a sort of important, not an important, but as a classic piece of science fiction literature, it's probably worth a read. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
You know,
As worth a read as, say, Great Gatsby or something like that, if you really want
it's a
the
classic.
literature of it.
A bit
it's a
more interesting than
classic.
Great Gatsby.
Probably. Great Gatsby was
It dragged for sure.
exceedingly dull.
Yeah. Oh, this man is sad. Okay.
But it's
just-
important.
But that's
because
also-
he's a man.
Yeah.
Sad boy. Story.
Sad boy Gatsby. Sorry if anyone's an F. Scott Fitzgerald fan.
Well written sad boy.
Why would his parents call him that?
Lognet asks, what is the scariest or most dangerous animal you've dealt with while living in Australia?
Drop bears, obviously.
Drop bears.
Drop
You
bears.
gotta get
Yeah.
They're the worst.
Yeah.
Vegemite on, and
yeah.
like the cost of Vegemite to cover like 6 people's full bodies is
Yeah.
Astronomical.
Expensive.
Like
and also
like 30%
not
of our
politically
weekly
correct.
income goes to Vegemite just to cover our
Yeah.
bodies.
Yeah. Probably just the locals at Macca's, hey?
Yeah,
Well-
Eshays are really dangerous.
Yeah.
Kind of horrifying.
Yeah.
I mean-
No, magpies are friends.
Curlews
Yeah.
though, curlews will fucking kill
Oh, yeah,
you
curlews.
if you give them the
Yeah.
chance.
Really, the bird,
Colours.
like plovers and magpies have been the most
Yeah.
issue.
Oh, not plovers, not
Yeah.
curlews. Curlews
Yeah.
are lovely. They just
They
scream,
just scream in
like
the middle of the
murdered
night.
women.
Yeah.
And I'm not kidding.
yeah.
Not
Yeah.
a good time for me to demonstrate.
No.
No.
But yeah, plovers will kill you and the rest of your family if given the chance.
Yeah, they're very territorial birds that often like to nest out on football fields where
They'll just
people
lay-
play soccer
And golf courses.
Sorry, football. And they will come and
teacher-
F you up.
Teacher of mine had a prank where he'd sneak up behind people and get like a Legionnaire's cap with a flap on the back, and then go up and just shake it behind someone's ear because it sounds like wings going, and they just like freak out thinking they're being swooped by a blubber in the middle of the golf
so
course.
good.
Yeah.
How many of you have actually encountered a funnel web?
No,
I don't know. No, lots of redbacks,
Oh yeah.
but they've never like bothered me. We just go, oh, there's a redback.
Yeah, spiders are probably the one. There was a brown snake that was outside the bathroom at Woodford once, which was a fun time.
There was one at the entrance to Woodford when we were filming, and the main crew, like a couple of hundred people, came through the gates.
Yeah.
As we were filming, and we could see it winding between people. And this snake is deadly.
Yeah, the
He'll kill
brown
you.
snakes
And
are
aggressive.
very,
It's
very
like
aggressive and
both
deadly.
poisonous.
Yeah.
I nearly
the
stood
world.
on a red belly black snake.
Ooh,
Yeah,
they're fun.
Jara said that she nearly stood on a red belly black snake, which is more poisonous than the brown snake.
No, it's
But
not.
is it
Brown snake is more poisonous.
more poisonous?
Yeah, red belly is like 23rd or something.
But it goes faster.
I did.
But it goes faster.
So
Right.
fun story. I was out on a survey once in I think it was Mount Tambourine, and there was we were in a creek, like sort of like on a sort of waterfall area, and we were sort of like crossing the creek across some rocks, and then we hear this like splashing next to us, and we're like, oh, like we just thought it was water at first, but then we see there is a red-bellied black snake water sliding down the waterfall. Like, I'm not kidding. It was just coming down, like swimming through the creek, and then just like flopped out at the bottom, and then got back out and went into the bushes. And we were like,
Goodbye.
was that intentional or?
I guess I'm never going swimming ever again.
Yeah, they now live in the water. So there you go.
There was the time that our friend left a fake red belly black snake in our build headquarters, and at a site where there were absolutely red belly black snakes. 45 minutes later, we found out it was plastic and had no head. I think after we called the snake guy.
Yeah.
And the snake guy was like, "This is a fake snake, guys."
He didn't get out there before we figured it out. The tip-off was the snake didn't move for 45 minutes, so...
Yeah, that'd be it.
I just fought a possum in my kitchen the other night.
Possums are pretty bad.
They'll just take your stuff.
They'll just take your
For
And they
for our
don't
American
care.
audience, we're not talking about
opossums.
opossums. Ours are much cuter, but
They are cute, but
they're
you have to like
mischievous.
physically push them back out the window
yeah.
Yeah.
because they're like, "I want snacks," and you're like,
Yeah.
"It's my lunch."
Yeah, just take us.
Yeah, just scribble all
You're-
over Cam's hard work.
But I think some red, like, on
Right
the
here.
brick.
I mean,
yeah.
in one of the painted things, they did have like turn back painted in blood on one of the floor panels, which was quite
enjoy
fun,
that.
I thought.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Ebony, do you want to show off some of the stuff that you specifically and not us have done?
I mean, Regan has only just started painting because she was snipping for a while there.
She's got some rocks. There are rocks
I'm
that are coloured.
contributing.
Yeah,
okay,
alright,
I
let me get
really
me.
vibed the way we painted the tower for the island.
Yeah, with all the different color stones.
So I'm
And
doing
you're
that.
working on Dwarven Mine stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just doing the vaults. I've gone with this sort of green tone. Where's the light? Bring me. the
You're
light.
sitting in it.
There we go. So it looks quite grey here on my camera, but it's got lots of green, sort
Nice
of
little
mossy,
greeny tint. Yeah.
mossy vibes. What's Gianni doing over here? He's also gone with green and mossy vibes.
I decided to go green base and then put dark over the top because
Yeah, nice.
black mold is everywhere in my bathroom at the moment, and
So-
I just wanted to try and capture that.
Yeah.
Everywhere?
No.
That's very
No,
unfortunate.
but yeah, I like the idea of like the stones being kind of green and then there's like black goo growing on it.
Yeah,
Alright.
gross.
Horrifying.
Awful.
I will probably be back in a bit.
Bye,
See you
Tyler.
soon.
Thanks for dropping
Thanks
by.
for saying hello.
Yeah.
Hi guys, hi guys.
In case you're under the illusions that we work in some kind of office.
No,
This is my basement.
this is just the basement.
This is underneath my
Yep.
house. Surprise!
Yeah, if you have any questions about the set build or anything, they're here. So
Not
Yeah.
a screen.
Yeah.
Solid.
Solid, heavy, actually.
yes, yeah,
Yeah,
we were very chuffed when we first launched, and someone asked us, are we in front of a green screen?
Yeah, that might be.
I mean, like, honest mistake to make because, like, obviously it's very realistic and
builds this,
lifelike.
right?
Yeah.
Who in their right mind?
Yeah.
No. We did this in about 3 weeks, which
Yeah.
is pretty crazy. We just absolutely hustled on this right after the very first big lockdown here in Australia. We just punched it out.
Yeah.
But,
Worth it.
It is, yeah, totally hand built. Several hours of sanding have gone into this.
My hands have never been the same.
Yeah. But
It was fun.
no, I loved it. It was a great project, and we did it on quite a low budget, if I do say so myself. A lot of reclaimed wood, and then I also learned how to plaster to do this. So new skills.
Yeah.
New skills acquired.
Built the table too that you cannot see.
Yes, it's been protected.
Yes, the normal tabletop that you see. Although I don't know if this is too much of a secret to give away, it's not actually a table.
No.
It is several burnt down houses.
Reacquired and repurposed timber that these guys assemble together, and it's just a big board, and it just sits on top of a normal table.
A normal ugly table.
Yeah,
that
but
was
it makes
not
it
good enough.
makes
for
it look
us.
very cool. Yeah, there was a long sort of like discussion. It's like, do we try and buy a big table to try and fit the aesthetic or what? But like, yeah, big pieces of timber get very expensive very quickly. So these guys are very resourceful to scrap together.
Does mean we
some
really need to
recycle
invest
stuff.
in dice trays though.
Dice tray
So-
is probably the next thing, because there have been so many times where we roll and there are big
cocked
cracks, because it's all like tongue and groove
Yeah.
joining. So our dice are 50% of the time not a number. when we
So
roll
if
them.
you make dice trays, sponsor us.
I feel like we've been making this joke for a year, and it's.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
But
no, I mean, like, we should just make some or just buy some. They're
just
really
get some.
easy.
I mean, there's some
It's just a
beautiful
box. Yeah.
manufacturers.
Summer's Teeth asks, Cam, please talk about the camera setup.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I can go
All day.
as
How
as
much do you want to know?
deep and nerdy as you like. I did to give the background. I did a lot of research on how the major streamers kind of do it, like your Critical Roles and your Dimension 20 and those sorts of people, and then was like, what is the cheapest way that I can do that? And then walked between that and my own gear hoard upwards. So
Cam is actually a dragon, but instead of gold, it's camera gear.
I mean, those lenses, they're expensive.
my tax return is entirely cameras. So we generally have a 2-camera setup, which I think anyone could do with phones if you wanted to get really sneaky with it. But we kind of started with the level up from that, which are Sony A600s. A6000s,
which we were renting.
Yeah, and they're super solid if you wanted to do your own stream and not have to worry too much about it. The main thing you need to research is what cameras can film infinitely without overheating, which is not a lot.
Yeah, that's the number one trap is if you're using like DSLR type cameras, a lot of them will just shut off after 30 minutes or something, and that's not very great when you're trying to stream for 3-hour pieces of content.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the main trick.
I think the main thing was like, what are the best shots we can get in a small basement that still look cool? So one main camera over there, which takes 3 people, and then one over here, which normally goes, which you're looking at now, which goes to the side. It's just a simple 2-camera setup so that editing afterwards is super easy. I would love to have a light on top of here to create a nice.
Always with the asking, Cam. Honestly.
But that's
Can I
mostly
have
the-
this? Can I have that?
But our ceiling is actually quite low in here, unfortunately, so it's hard to get any
I'll say.
height.
Like the main thing is like it's 2 cameras, HDMI cables into a switcher, which then goes into the computer. But you could do it with 2 phones and some USBs to a laptop if you wanted to do it ghetto style. And I've done it the one step up from that, which is a Blackmagic 4K and a Blackmagic 6K.
The one step up from that.
Like from cameras to like if you're full streaming. That's
yeah.
because
So we're very thankful that Cam does stuff for work,
Yeah.
which has allowed us to borrow his cameras.
yeah, this is my work streaming kit. So it's 2 Blackmagic cameras, this Vision switcher, a mobile kit that I used to take to areas to do live streaming. So it's a
Yeah, so don't be disillusioned. Like this is a fairly advanced setup for a basic stream. But that's just we've been fortunate enough to be able to have access to that. But you can definitely do something of close to similar quality if you just get like a big thing is lighting, right? Like as long
Lighting
as you
is
just-
always what's going to make your shot look better than
and
anything.
even still, we haven't quite solved our lighting. Like, I've started to notice it more and more as you go through the as I've been doing like the recaps at the start of realignment episodes, and I'm pulling bits from different episodes and like putting them back to back, and just like how much the lighting and the setup changes is like, oh no, there's no consistency. But I think we're getting more and more consistent with it, which is good. It's all
And I
part
mean,
of
we're
the-
just trying to like perfect it every episode. Really, is,
Yeah.
we're always just trying to improve on what we produced the last time and make it look better.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't have much money and you want to do it, spend money on lights. Don't spend money on gear.
Yeah.
Would be the biggest thing.
Yeah, your phone cameras can stream in like 4K now. So
Yeah.
so as long as your lighting setup is good, you can run for the hills.
And that's like I have a beefy phone camera, and that is the one thing that will let down the quality of my image every single time is the lighting. If the lighting's there, it is one of the best images that I could feasibly imagine being taken on a phone. And then if the lighting's not there, it's like, well, that's a potato.
Waste of it.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Jules asks, what were all of your lockdown projects? Binging The Office US in your undies counts as a project, by the way. Good one. I don't know, starting a stream.
Yeah, so we were working on this secretly in the background of lockdown. We also we learned a lot of bread baking and such.
The sourdough memes.
The sourdough memes were real in our household. I also just like started TikToking all of the meals that we made. As a way to encourage ourselves to actually cook food. And I also ordered like just an unending amount of craft material. But what have you done, Gianni?
Why'd you have to draw attention to it?
I work in creative industry for my money. So I just
Can
kind of
justify it.
yeah, I just was like, how many different skills and how many materials for those skills can I acquire? And honestly, it's come in handy. I can pretty much make you anything. So yeah. So I just picked up even more hobbies than I already had. Mostly screen printing, a loom,
Screen printing. Yeah.
Really?
yeah,
That's cool.
a wax seal kit. Various I started oil painting again because all sorts of stuff.
My lockdown project was saw a video of Simone Biles doing a handstand and trying to take off her pants while in a handstand.
Very good life skill to have.
I spent quite a large amount of time trying to achieve that. There's a video somewhere in the depths of my phone of me taking, like in a handstand, taking off my pants, and I get most of the way, but just as I'm about to get it off my last foot, it gets caught, and you just see me stagger off the screen in a handstand and hear the crash as I land on a bookshelf.
Nice.
That was my project.
Falling.
Yeah.
But like differently every time and without pants on.
That you can.
I work in online learning, so I started
not.
doing like 60 to 70 hour work weeks.
Oh, good.
It was very busy, and I was very grateful, and seeing all of my friends in the arts lose their jobs was horrifying. But yeah, I spent most of that time just working atrocious hours across Australia, US, and UK. So now is my lockdown projects.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, I guess in a weird way, lockdown sort of at least probably allowed you, Gianni, to actually focus your attention on getting Hijinks up off.
Yeah, like it was kind of the main window for that, and yeah, really just was sort of the kick up the bum for it, and I mean it was good because I got to I pretty much just started learning how to produce music in that time as well, so I spent a lot of time on the keyboard, which is now what's in realignment.
If people don't know, all of the music in realignment is original music written and produced by Gianni.
Yeah.
So
Which is really just accessible these days. Like I was saying this in a stream the other day, but like it's just you can just do it for free. Like it's just wild.
we have the technology.
You can just get on there and just score a piece of music. It's wild.
Nobody stops you.
I mean, it takes a lot. There's definitely learning that goes into it, but like the actual tools are very accessible. So I would highly recommend it for anyone who's looking for another side project to get on board with.
Yeah, and it also means we don't have to pay anyone
yes,
for the music.
That's good. Just means everything takes longer.
Yeah.
Oh, tabletop. I didn't D&D or tabletop much before the pandemic. And
Yeah.
then,
Oh yeah, so you just started playing more?
that's how I really got into all of this.
Yeah.
Because you were like, we're going to do this Pathfinder thing, and I was like, what is Pathfinder? But I'm in.
But I agree.
Sold. Yeah.
Cool.
Hey, Chromithic has joined us.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us.
Hello.
If you haven't heard of Chromithica, they're a great another Pathfinder 2e stream. Really great group of players in a homebrew world. I definitely recommend going and check them out. They've just started putting out stuff in podcast version, so I know that a lot of people would very much like all of our stuff to be in podcast,
It's coming.
which we are working on. But if you want stuff that's out there,
Going.
go check out Chromithica. Really great group of people. Luke's in the chat, and he says he was classified as a necessary worker as a baker, so he still had to work.
I'm sorry, Luke.
So much bread.
Thank you for your bread services.
Yeah, Luke. I'm telling them your life story now, Luke. Luke used to work in a bakery, and now he will no longer make us bread because he's traumatized by
Never want
by
to touch
bread
the dough
making.
again.
Yeah, but now he works as an animator, which is pretty cool. Good. There's just weirdly talented people that
Yeah,
in
this
this
team.
group.
Gross.
Banging
Go
team.
team. Not to toot our own horns, but gosh, everyone's cool.
So it is 12 o'clock.
Wow.
That went by very
that
quickly.
went by so fast.
So we did start a little bit late, so we probably have like maybe 10-15 minutes left for our stream. So if you do have any other questions, now's the time to get them in.
And if you want one of these cheeky Pathfinder Terrain sets,
Yeah.
make sure you pop a question in the chat. That is how you enter the draw.
Yep. So at the end of the stream, we'll randomize people who have asked questions. If you don't want to be in the running, please just let us know, and we'll take your name off the list. But anyone who wins will be in contact, or you can email us at hi@hijinks.org if we call out your name, and we can organize sending a box of the terrain to you, which is a great opportunity as we mentioned. So thank you again to Archon Studios and Dungeons and Lasers for allowing us to do this. It's really fun. I've not painted stuff before on at all, really. Actually, no, that's a lie. I did have some of the Lord of the Rings, like the Warhammer Lord of the Rings minis back in the day, when I started to get into that, and I found out it was very difficult to make it look good when you're a kid, and I was like, why do my elves not look like the elves in the movies? And so I gave up.
Well, and I'm actually going to move on to dark washing some of these pieces that I've got ready. So I've laid down my base tones, which are sort of murky, mossy, greeny color, and I'm going to take this murky black water and put it all over all of the work that I've just done. But I promise it'll look good. So
It's worth it.
yeah. So we're going to move on to that step.
Meanwhile, Jules asks, what's your process for developing a character for an RPG? So I guess what's your character process to embody them?
I wait for everyone else to create theirs, and then I ask Tyler what we're missing in the group.
Yeah.
And then I scroll through and I pick the things that have the coolest names. And I'm like, lol, wouldn't it be great if? That's my process.
I mean, that's pretty chill.
And then
And
inevitably
then give them a
this-
Kiwi accent.
And then give them a
you-
Kiwi accent.
Yeah. I mean,
Can't help it.
yeah, no, look, it's a real risk.
I work like concept out a lot of the time, like the character that I'm playing right now. What was I watching? We were watching Blown Away on Netflix, which is like a glass blowing competition. I was like, wow, glass blowing's cool as fuck. So my character at the moment is actually a glass blower, but mechanically they're an alchemist. So their whole thing is that they is that like their quick alchemy, they actually blow the flask that their alchemical concoction lives in. So when they do, they like shot a bunch of mixtures and then shoot it down into like the blown flask and then fling it off their rod. Really fun.
Really good multi-flasker.
Yeah. Super fun. So I was like, how can I play a glass blower? It'd be really fun to kind of do that. And I was like, well, what has glass? Alchemy. And I worked back that way. But it's always concept first for me, and then I find the mechanical solution to that after. Here, if you want to turn on the phone cam, I'll show you what we're doing over here. So the difference between dark-washed, black-washed, and black-washed. It just picks up all the details, and you get a lot more tone and shape and depth in your work. And then the final step is a little dry brush, which will pick up all the highlights on that. There you go. Fun terrain, painting facts.
Same.
I mean, I just picked the easiest character possible to play, and then
That is untrue.
do the complete opposite.
Pick Summoner in your first Pathfinder game. What if I had two characters to control separately?
What is action economy, Gianna? How does it work? Concept. I mean, concept's always... concept meets that moment or that play style. Like, what is the most interesting moment that I can come up with a different character meets class? And then work backwards, and then weep softly while I try and figure out how Pathfinder works.
The crying really adds to the depth of your character, though, I think. Too often characters are too fun and ha-ha. I think the crying in the corner really adds to the whole experience.
That's why my first character was very emo, if anyone caught that stream.
I usually go with, like... I usually try and, like, fit something to a mechanical thing typically first. So, like, I'll see a class and I'll say, cool, what character would I make for this class using some of the options? So, like, a character I've been recently is a zombie, and that was just because I was reading the Book of the Dead that came out, and I saw that it had a feat called Brains, and I was like, what if I made a barbarian zombie that its rage was just a brains frenzy, and it just like wanted to just eat brains, and so that is just its rage. And so that was like, cool, I'll build a character around just that idea. So I'll usually just like see a cool mechanical thing, and that's just usually inspires something fun to work around. It's always like the case. It's like, you know, bards are really fun because, you know, the standard trope of a bard is like, they're playing a musical instrument and they inspire courage by singing or dancing or whatever, but then trying to find ways that you can sort of reflavor that to be like, okay, what does a poetry bard look like versus, like, you know, what does a motivational speaker bard look like? Or the bard that I'm currently playing in the campaign is they are literally a narrator, and so they inspire courage by like narrating the outcome, and so that it tells everyone else to do the thing better. I don't know, it's weird, but it's fun.
It's fun.
It's it's very high concept, but it's fun.
I also just realized that on one of these walls I actually have a little alcove, and it's got tiny little melted candles in it.
That's
so
adorable.
like, yeah, the details are pretty lush. Nice work, Archon Studios.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fun little almost Easter eggs in this terrain. It's gorgeous.
Kremithika asks, what has been the most intimidating and exciting for you about starting a show and production company?
Intimidating is the workload versus the time that we as a group of people have, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Like, just the sheer volume of post-production is probably the most intimidating, and it's not like you know, we get through it, but it
definitely could be a lot faster if we had the capacity to. I guess that's the main thing. It's like not being able to, like, it's the constant fear, I guess, of like not being able to deliver to a sort of I guess quote unquote acceptable amount. It's you know, that sort of constant pressure of content creators is like, I've got to upload a video every day, every week, something I have to, you know, tweet something every day so that I get the algorithm to like me, and just like that constant pressure of like output is a bit intimidating, and definitely, like, you know, we're very conscious of burnout, and that's sort of like the main thing we try and sort of avoid, I guess, is you know, working so hard that we just don't enjoy it anymore, which is why we often have very slow release times is because like we're not going to put anyone in a position to crunch, basically.
Like we're in it for longevity.
Yeah.
Right. So we need it to be sustainable in the long run.
Yeah.
And if that means releasing once a month, that is
and like we'll get faster and faster as we sort of get
and we're also
processes.
learning a lot of these skills like from scratch.
Yeah.
It's a learning on the job sort of situation. Like slowly everyone's upskilling and we get more and more people on the editing team. But for a while there it was just Cam and Gianni. Yeah. And that team is slowly expanding, but it's 3-hour episodes, hour-and-a-half episodes. It's a lot of stuff to get through.
Yeah. And
I was saying, like, I'm not on the tools as a job anymore. It's been 7 or 8 years since I did this for work. So it's very intimidating to do that and then try and teach people to try and help, which, like, people have skilled up amazingly and are super helpful, but it's wild to try and be like, oh yeah, this thing that I used to teach years ago, I'm sure it's still the same and technology hasn't changed.
No. So I guess like the main thing is like you just have to sort of be like clear with yourself, and then be clear with everyone about sort of what your like expectations are, I guess, as around like how much you're actually gonna do. Like I know that we've fallen short sometimes about like I know when we first released we were like, we'll release fortnightly, and like, oh boy, was that a mistake. Because like fortnightly seemed achievable at the time, but then it was like, actually, like, no, this will take every second of my free time if we're doing it. And like, thankfully, we're getting great Patreon support at the moment, which has been like absolutely incredible. And that's definitely going to be a huge step towards like, okay, we can actually start paying someone potentially to help us out. Like one of the big things that we've always been sorely lacking is getting like transcripts done and annotations, which I know is something that we should have been doing from the get-go, but we just haven't had the capacity, unfortunately, to actually sit down and correct them and make sure that they're all sort of up to code. And that's something that where we're like, actually,
this is something we could outsource.
This is definitely something that we should be hiring someone to do properly, so that we don't beef it, basically. So we're very excited about like, I guess, having a bit of revenue now that we can start to think about how we might be able to optimize our workflows a bit better using that. And it's just a huge help. So thank you to all of our patrons. Quick shout out to the Patreon if you want to sign up and support us, but also get a bunch of cool stuff out of it. We have a really great group of people in our Discord server. If you're not a part of it, I assume most people in the chat are, but it's a great place to hang out. We have whole bunch of House Cup challenges and stuff for the people who have signed up to the Patreon. So that's something.
I mean, that's what I'd probably say would be the most exciting thing about this is that the community that we've got a chance to sort of foster around, this silly little story that we wanted to tell. But more than that, it is, tabletop is something that we all really love and that are pretty passionate about, and it's really nice to be able to connect with people literally all over the world that think that the way that we connect with something that we care about is really cool. And that everyone our Discord community is really awesome. It's probably my favorite thing that has come out of this, and it's fun. Like we got to put a stream on the Paizo official channel for Gen Con last year. Like a bunch of stuff is cool come out of it, but I think every time our like weird little community is a winner.
Summer Steve says, what have you learned about painting during the stream? Not much from my end. Oh no, I've learned the 3 steps. You got to do your base coat, and then you got to do your dark wash, and
black wash, dark wash, whichever.
Then your highlights.
Yeah.
I've done one of those. So.
Yeah. Look at these tiny. You probably won't be able to see these tiny little candles.
That's very cute.
They're so cute.
Yeah.
Oh.
I've learnt that no matter how easy and straightforward Ebony says it's going to be, I will find a way to make it meticulous and
difficult.
Meticulous, I think is a great word.
I have learnt not to paint both sides at once and then wait for them to dry, because all you do is make the tablecloth dirty.
Well, that's why I put it down.
So look, we're probably nearing the end. So we should probably do a draw soon. Jara, have you got a list of names?
Get final question call.
Yeah.
If you have not asked a question
Last drinks.
and you would like to go in the draw to win a chance to have one of these lovely terrain sets, ask a question right now and we will answer it and you will go in the draw.
Yeah.
So
A quick fire round.
quick fire round of questions.
If you could replace the hair on your head with anything, what would you? I love this question. It's my favorite.
Snakes. It's always snakes.
Snakes, Johnny.
Snakes.
That's Ebony's answer. You can't have it.
Little fingies.
Little.
Oh.
Because then you could just hold so much more.
I mean,
It's just little like grasping fingies.
Yeah,
Yep.
your snakes can hold things.
That's a choice.
Have you seen a snake hold something, please? Actually,
Yes.
snakes very much do. Never
They
mind.
can hold a whole goat if they want to.
Look, I will sit down on this one.
Chameleon hands.
Just give me
Chameleon
little
hands,
graspy
that would be
chameleon
adorable.
hands.
Herb garden for me,
Herb garden.
because the grasshoppers always eat my basil.
Would you
and if
eat
it's on-
yourself though?
Yeah, when I'm cooking, I'll just be like,
It's like equivalent to eating your
You're welcome.
toenails. Mm.
"You're welcome."
oh.
Mm.
It's made basil really unpleasant.
Lavender hair.
Lavender's nice.
Lavender. Yep, Jara says lavender.
Like a scent producing hair.
Any hair is scent producing if you don't wash it enough.
Mm.
Mm.
How many names do we have, Jara?
11.
Did we get any more? Did we get any more questions?
No.
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 All right, everyone.
So we have 11. So maybe do you want to roll a d12? There's a little bucket of dice across the table. In your you can
Big
grab
reach.
that one if you want.
Big
Yeah.
reach.
Yeah. So if we call out your name, I don't know. It's probably best if you email us first, actually, because otherwise we'll have to message you through YouTube, and I don't actually know how that works. So
Should we roll the d12 on camera for some
Yeah.
kind of dramatic
Mm.
effect?
Come over here. You know.
to prove
Yeah,
why not.
yeah. Come on, come and say hello.
Yeah.
This is the wonderful Jara.
She has been monitoring our stream and doing all the camera switchies.
Switcheroonies.
Hello. All right, roll them up. Not in the paint.
Should that? Oh, we don't have the camera. Never mind.
It's fine.
It's fine.
all good.
Yeah,
What is
we'll
it?
roll
Dun,
here.
dun, dun. First winner,
7.
number 7, who is.
I should have brought the.
Should have brought the paper over.
We'll leave you in suspense, everybody.
Dun,
Yeah.
Iron Chestnut.
Iron
Iron
Chestnut.
Hey,
Winner,
congratulations!
Yeah.
We will be sending one of these your way.
Yeah, so please send us an email. The email is hi@hijinks.org, and let us know that you're a winner. And we will get your details and make sure these are sent over to you.
Yeah.
So
Congratulations.
that's one of 3.
one of 3. Who's next? You want to do a roll, Gianni? Go. Oh, Gianni's covered in paint.
Oh, okay. You
Yeah, I've got painty fingies. This is why you need more in your head.
Number 11.
11.
Oh, that's right. I crossed someone out. Chromithica.
Chromithica!
Yeah,
Congratulations.
Esther's getting one. Nice work. Tabletop Obscura has just let us know that they don't want to be in the running. So, yeah. Oh, you got it. Cool. Okay. Cool. And number
final
3.
roll.
Hopefully, it doesn't need to be a reroll.
8.
Number 8. Drum roll. James
And
Beck.
James Beck.
Osiris. Oh my god. I
Awesome.
feel like this has just been a very chummy. Just sending it to our content creator friends.
We
No,
were
that's
rolling.
Yeah, yeah,
the
it's legit.
The dice have chosen. So
There you go.
hit us up. Send us an email or,
Yeah.
if you're on our Discord, send us a message there. And
Yeah.
we will get these sent over to you. They are absolutely gorgeous sets. Like, they have been such a
Lovely.
pleasure.
Yeah.
I'm currently painting our little grate silver. Because we've got some lovely metallic paints over here. And I'll make sure that we'll take some photos of everybody's finished pieces.
Work.
And
That wasn't part of the deal.
yeah, and they're going on the Discord, so if you want to see what everyone did, check it out there. We'll pop it in the art channel.
Yeah. If you're not on the Discord, come say hi. We're a pretty chill group of people,
Yep.
obviously. So yeah, we'll be there to chat.
We do all sorts of fun stuff. We just recently finished our very first season of Adventures of, which is a collaborative storytelling
off the rails.
Adventure.
Everyone gives their own prompt each. Gives a response to a prompt each day, and the best one becomes canon. So it's
good.
Wild, and it's a lot of fun. So
and I think we will be starting our next season fairly shortly. So if you want to get in on that, and otherwise we do a lot of, you get a lot of first notices about things that we're doing and stuff that's happening. And if you'd like to join our Patreon, please do. You can join for as little as $1.50 Australian a month, and that gets you a bunch of extra bonuses and access to any official bonus content that we produce. Is it $5 is the lowest?
So
that was just Discord rules.
$1 is you get to join and join in with the Luminary activities on our Discord server, and get fancy notoriety, and then $5 and up you get a whole bunch of extra bonus content.
Yeah, and there's all sorts of fun stuff. So please check that out if you're interested.
Yeah.
Otherwise, thank you for joining us. Thank
And,
you for asking questions.
Thanks again to Archon Studios for sending us along these sets of Abomination's Vaults Pathfinder Terrain. It's really fun, and we can't wait to put it on display somewhere. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
How am I going to